Dirty Dancing, starring Patrick Swayze, Jennifer Grey, and Cynthia Rhodes. Get ready for the time of your life.
God, every movie trailer from the 80s just shows the ending.
I know.
Jeez. Welcome to Movie Matters, guys. I'm Kevin.
I'm Jake.
And today we're talking about Dirty Dancing. I'd never seen this movie. You've never seen this movie, Jake.
No.
Yeah. It's a classic, apparently, but I didn't care for it that much.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Last episode, we talked about how I'm not a fan of romantic comedies or romantic movies in general, and this definitely falls into that category. It's just like, I don't know. Movies like this just don't do it for me. And, like, my wife is gonna hate me, but like the acting in this movie sucks. Like the plot is like very meandering, and like it doesn't really know what it's trying to do. That I think the big compliment I would give this movie is the soundtrack is awesome.
Soundtrack's awesome. I think the dancing is really
Yes.
well done for a movie
Yes.
called Dirty Dancing. I would hope it would be, and it was. The soundtrack's great. The dancing's good. The acting is goofy. The editing is the one thing that I took away from this movie being like garbage. The editing is just so weird.
Yeah, I didn't find like there's a lot of there's a few instances where they made very strange decisions about like how to do a shot. Like the one that sticks out to me is when Swayze is talking to Jennifer Grey, and it like cuts in on a close up for like 3 words and then back out to like a wide shot. It's like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Like for like a sentence that had like no real impact either. It was just like a very weird editing decision.
Yeah.
And I was like a little thrown back in my seat. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah. And, I was watching this movie with my girlfriend, and there'd just be, like, such drastic, like, it would just randomly just cut and, like, go to the next scene where it's, like, the same characters but a completely different setting. And I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Like, why is it doing that? It didn't let the scene breathe or, like, anything.
They don't give you, like,
meander.
a landscape shot to, like, show...
Like time has passed.
Change, or anything, yeah.
That like threw me for a loop this entire movie and kind of took me out of it. This movie also kind of reminded me of Grease, the movie Grease with Travolta and Olivia Newton-John.
I was gonna say Footloose,
which
I've never actually seen either, but
and it reminds you of it.
Well, I mean, it's like almost the same kind of plot where like there's people who are dancing and somebody doesn't like that they're dancing. Kind of, not really.
You only
but
dance.
A little.
You only dance with the guests. You don't do anything else. You only dance.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting plot. Just describing it. It's this family goes to a resort, kind of like summer getaway, and it's all about dancing, and a woman gets pregnant and wants to have an abortion, and this girl from the family wants to help out because she's a nice person, and then she gets into dancing. That's the plot of the movie.
Yeah, which like of all the plot points to drive her into dancing, an abortion is an interesting choice, I think.
Controversial. Maybe controversial.
Yeah. There's like she could have sprained her ankle. She could have, like there's a whole bunch of other like less impactful and like
Yeah.
different things that could have been chosen as the
Definitely could have
means
gone a
for
different avenue.
pushing
Yeah.
her into being the dancer.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely interesting. But it's interesting because the plot, it's kind of weird and goofy, but the movie was made for like very little money. It was made for $6 million, and it finished on time, finished on budget. However, like no one on the team for the movie thought the movie was going to be very good. They thought it was going to be a flop. And apparently 39% of people who viewed the film did not realize abortion was the topic of the subplot. So,
They do never really come out and say it.
yeah, true.
I mean, it's heavily implied, but they don't ever come out and say it explicitly.
So one of the executives of the studio saw the movie and was like, yeah, burn the negative and collect the insurance. Like, he thought it was terrible. And, the movie in the USA grossed almost $63 million.
Wow.
Which is insane for a $6 million budget. I mean, it's 10 times its original cost. And then the worldwide gross was like $214 million, which is a lot, especially in that time, in 87. Yeah. And so it was also the first movie to sell 1 million copies on home video, which is pretty cool.
Interesting.
So the movie did very, very well. And, it's iconic, but I like watching it. I was just like, I don't see it. I don't see it.
I don't either. My wife really likes it. I don't know why. So one of the funny things is like I laid out my opinion for her. I was like, it's kind of just like doesn't know what it's doing like the whole time. It kind of just like wanders around like plot wise, and then ends up landing on this talent show, which is like, it's such an inconsequential ending. Yeah. Like, it's just like very strange for like, I don't know. Like, I feel like the hotel that they went to halfway through the movie should have been the ending. And the talent show should have been the middle thing or something like that.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Too, like where they go and dance for the first time, that competition.
Right.
I thought that was going to be the climax of the movie, and I thought that would have that would have been better in my opinion.
Right. And it's like the hotel talent show. Like, who fucking cares? Like, and like it's obvious that Baby is interested in dancing by like 2/3 of the way through the movie. It seems like this is something that like she really wants to keep doing. So to have it culminate in this like bullshit talent show that like no one cares about is just like a very strange thing. And like, I don't know.
I agree. Yeah, because I turned to my girlfriend. I was like, "This is the ending." She's like, "Yeah." I'm like,
"Yeah."
Like, really?
What the fuck?
Like, there's. I was like, she's like, what else do you want? And I was like, I would maybe want them like. It's like, yeah, they're happily ever after, but there's no real conclusion, in my opinion, to like, oh, I'm going to join the Peace Corps and all this shit that Baby wants to do, and then you've got
frankly,
Johnny.
Like, her goals that she states in the beginning of the movie are far better than anything that comes out of the ending of the movie. Like, like,
I'm going to be a dancer.
Yeah, I mean, she wanted to like join the Peace Corps and shit. Like, cool. Like, go do something, helpful. Like, sorry, but like dancing is not joining the Peace Corps,
Yeah, no offense if you have a dancing career and you're listening, which we highly doubt, at least at this juncture. But it goes back to almost when we with Tango and Cash, with Tango being super supportive of his sister. Like, you could dance and play the drums. It's the same thing, but
yeah, right.
Yeah,
But
it just
so yeah, and I think part of it. I think the writing is not great. I think it's all of this stuff that we're talking about is a consequence of bad writing.
yeah.
And one of the things that my wife actually pointed out to me that I completely did not think about at all was that the movie begins with a narration
Yes.
that never comes back throughout the entire
Yes.
movie.
Yes.
Which is also a signal of terrible writing because, I mean, like, if you're going to have a narration, it should be somewhat consistent throughout the
Agreed.
movie. Like, if all you're doing with that initial narration is telling people that it's 1963, you'd be better served just putting 1963 on the screen,
Yeah.
you know?
And
like,
what's funny about that is, I literally was like, he's driving away in a, Johnny Castle has the 1957 Chevy. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I saw there was other older cars. I was like, oh yeah, this movie takes place in 1963. I totally forgot.
oh, yeah. Well, that's what I said too. Like, all the music is like late 50s, early 60s, like Motown kind of R&B kind of stuff. Like I said, a fantastic soundtrack. But then out of nowhere you get Hungry Eyes, which is like a hardcore 80s ballad. Then you get the Patrick Swayze song, something about wind, or She's the Wind, or something like that, which is another like hardcore 80s like saxophone solo, kind of song. Then at the end you get the big Time of My Life song that like the movie's really famous for.
Yeah, won an Oscar for it.
Yeah, which, I mean, it's a good song, but again, it's the 80s.
Yeah.
It's not 1963, which is where the movie's supposed to take place. And I was like,
That doesn't bother me too much, honestly.
It bugged me a little bit because there's no reason for it to take place in 1963 if you're going to throw
Fair.
in modern music. Like, who's to say if these people don't like to dance to old music? Like, I don't know. It was just like a weird choice to me that they chose a time period, but then didn't make that time period like important.
Yeah, and the only thing that stuck out to me being that it was in the 60s were the cars. That's it. Like,
right.
the clothing styles, the hairstyles didn't make me think it was in the 60s either.
No, I mean, like, Jennifer Grey has the same hairstyle in Ferris Bueller. Like, it's not like they really changed anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Unless they wanted a more, like, conservative kind of time period for the abortion thing. But, like, even then, like, a lot of the people don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's,
I had a feeling we were going to be in agreement with this movie. We'll see how the other ones go, but, yeah.
Well, the other two are, I think, a bit more. I mean, again, I've never seen any of the movies they're talking about this month, but like Say Anything and 16 Candles, I feel like are more iconic because they're good. I think Dirty Dancing is iconic because of the music and the dancing more so than anything else.
I can see that. And I get why people like it in that regard. But other than that, the movie's kind of a pile of shit.
Yeah.
And I turned to my girlfriend and I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to watch this movie ever again. She's like, well, I watch it at least like once a year. And I'm like, great.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm stuck watching that for the rest of my fucking life.
Yeah, I built a compromise that we'll watch When Harry Met Sally whenever my wife wants. But I'll never have to watch Dirty Dancing again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like maybe we should try and pick some like decent aspects of the movie to talk about too.
Okay. I do have positive things to say.
Okay, good.
Believe it or not.
Instead of just shitting on it the whole time, we can. I mean, there's some parts about it that are not terrible, like we've already talked about a little bit. But yeah, go ahead if you've got stuff lined up.
I like the father-daughter relationship. I do like that aspect of it. I think that's really, hopefully relatable. I don't know if, I mean, obviously I'm not, I can't relate to that specific relationship, but it seems relatable. And I like that aspect a lot about it. I like Johnny Castle, which again, his name, Johnny Castle, is fucking awesome and hilarious and just so made up.
Yeah.
His kind of like arc is really good, especially his speech that he gives where he's like, I'm just everyone's summer fling. And I like that aspect to him where he's just like, I'm basically just like a whore and people use me. And he's like, I'm not, like, I'm tired of that. And I like that aspect of it.
Yeah, I would agree. I wish that showed up early in the movie instead of like the last third of the movie. Because like the whole movie, he's just like very confident, like semi-celebrity in this place. And then at the end of the movie, he's like, I'm a piece of shit. Like, I'm trash. Like, nobody likes me. It's like, whoa, where's this coming from? Like, I get it, but like, where's it coming from? Like, again,
agreed.
I think it's something that, should have been better
Fleshed
planned throughout the movie, Yeah.
Yeah, you leave breadcrumbs to the real thing.
I think, like you said, the relationship between Baby and her dad is very good. And I think that's like the emotional anchor of the movie. Yeah. And it is like, you can tell that it was actually thought through well from start to finish, because there is a very definite arc that it actually builds on, unlike almost everything else in the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, that aspect of it is pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean, you did say that the music is good. I think the dancing's really good. It's funny.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, Swayze and Jennifer Grey did all their dancing for the movie. There was no doubles for it, which is impressive. And it goes to show, I mean, like, we've talked about it in our other movies. Like, for example, we talked about Commando and how, like, they use a body double for certain scenes, and it's just very apparent and very obvious. Versus this movie, obviously, they don't use any doubles, and it adds to the... I would say it adds to its iconicness that they just, like, are really good at dancing.
Yeah, I'd say too that helps keep you in it a little bit too through the dancing scenes, because when you do spot doubles and stuff like that, it really takes you out of the moment, Yeah. And so like that's a good point for this movie is that there isn't much to distract you during those like big dance numbers, which is I think a good plus for the movie.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy too, because I was reading about how Jennifer Grey and Patrick Swayze didn't get along at all, really, and especially because they did Red Dawn prior to this in '84, and Jennifer Grey hated working with him, and he convinced her to like audition for this role for this movie, and their chemistry like screening was like super good, and so it was hard for them to work together. I was reading, and then they were able to kind of get through it, which is surprising because I mean kudos to them for their acting, even though it's okay in this movie, but she's got, to quote the song, hungry eyes.
Yeah, that's super surprising to me because
Yeah.
their relationship is actually very chemistry. They have really, really good chemistry in this movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm surprised to hear that.
Yeah.
I would have thought that the opposite were true. That
Yeah.
they really liked working together or something. Because
They have good chemistry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of laughed at a lot of the scenes where, it just like cuts to them just like post-coitus, post-sex. And I just was like, oh, they're having sex again. Nice.
Yeah. Which another thing that I find interesting as a choice for the movie is that they go through all this effort for Penny is the
girl who needs the abortion.
Johnny's partner.
Yeah.
They go through all this effort for Penny's abortion, and this, it's a big deal that the scummy waiter, got her pregnant and all this stuff. And
Robbie
then
Gould,
yeah, Robbie Gould,
the kicker for the Chicago Bears, or ex-kicker. Yeah. I don't even know what team he's on anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. He might have retired actually, but yeah, it's all of that is this huge plot point, and then the main character goes around and just has ridiculous amounts of sex. It's okay, we're making interesting choices after seeing the consequences of doing so, but whatever.
I was kind of thinking the same thing when I was watching it. I was like, interesting. I don't know. People are horny.
Yeah, I guess. This shitty hotel where all they do is fucking dance. What else are you gonna do? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, even the older ladies are all horned up in it, especially that one. And she ends
her
up...
sister too.
Oh yeah,
the sister out of nowhere is I'm gonna let him fuck me. She doesn't say that, but
yeah, and they don't look alike at all.
No, yeah, not a good casting.
And the sister's annoying in this movie.
Yes,
super annoying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there we go. Back to negative stuff.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming. We'll get back to some good stuff. It's coming. I promise. The Patrick Swayze wanted to do his own stunts too. And so he did the whole log scene where they're trying to do keep their balance, which I thought was cool. But apparently he kept falling off the log and injured his knee, and he injured it so badly that they had to drain fluid from it swelling too much. Just I'm a badass, but then he fucks his knee up. I don't know. Just kind of made me laugh reading about that. Yeah. And then you get to the tail end, and it I don't know, it kind of bothered me because they're doing this talent show and her sister's singing, and then Patrick Swayze just comes in and it's nobody puts baby in the corner, which is the most iconic line, but it makes no sense to me.
No. So I wanted to talk about this.
Yeah.
And go back to negative, but
it's fine.
So obviously I've heard that line before.
Yeah.
I had no idea what the context was.
I still don't.
My assumption was that it was they were in a contest, or they were doing something of significance, and he's nobody puts baby in a corner, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna fucking win this thing, and blah blah blah. No, literally she's just sitting in the corner of the room, and he's nobody puts baby in the corner, and grabs her. I was what?
Yeah. It literally made no sense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and apparently Swayze hated the line, and he really didn't want to use it. But it's ironic that it's so famous because it makes zero sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure someone out there who's listening, if they are, is it means this, you imbeciles. It's all these things. And it's just We didn't see it.
Yeah. I don't know.
But then he like interrupts this whole show, and everyone's just like, okay, cool, let's go with it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, nobody's upset. Like, not even the director of like the hotel or whatever, like, cared. It just like showed a quick cut of him like being like, should I be letting this happen? And then it just never focuses on him again.
Yeah, it never goes back. Yeah. They all clear out of the way too for him to start dancing.
And to stage jump, like, which is hilarious. That jump, it shows it in the trailer where he just like leaps into the audience and is like, and then everyone's dancing, and they somehow remove all those chairs instantly. I don't know if you noticed that. I was like, where'd all the chairs go?
Yeah. I mean, the ending, I think, besides it being completely inconsequential, like we talked about, I think is fine from like a like big final thing, because like the song is super iconic. I think even at the time, I think that's like an instant kind of classic. The dance that they do is great. Everybody like having fun is like a cool way to kind of like wrap the movie up, because they're all like stuck in this stuffy ass hotel that like doesn't do anything fun, and then they get to all have fun, and like they kind of wrap up the like animosity between Johnny and Baby's dad, and like that kind of gets like put away or whatever. Like it's like it does an okay job at kind of tying everything up, and even like Robbie Gold is like an asshole, and he's like, oh, I think the kid could be mine, and the dad like takes his like giant tip away from him, and was like, fuck that guy.
I mean, it's
so the only thing I'm the sleazy hotel guy, there's something should have happened with him,
like more.
He's just
the like super annoying one that's going after Baby.
Because he just kind of like disappears, and it's like, oh, okay, like he's just gone. Like I feel like him and Johnny should have like gotten a fight or something, or at least Johnny tells him off, like, go away, you like scumbag, or something, Oh,
like, I could teach you how to dance, baby. I'm good.
Yeah,
that guy. That guy's so annoying.
The Dustin Hoffman ripoff.
Discount Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was annoying.
Like he just like melds into the crowd. Like they do show him dancing with somebody like randomly.
I think wasn't he dancing with the baby's mom?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, he's just fine, like being like not being the guy that's with Baby at the end. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
that was like left open,
unfinished.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, whatever.
Agreed. But I do want to talk about one character who I had no idea was in this movie. Newman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Newman. What's his name? Wayne McKnight, I think, or Wayne Knight. You can hear the announcement at the very beginning of the person on like over the loudspeaker for the hotel or like resort, and I'm like, I think that's Newman.
Yeah.
And like sure enough, I was like, oh shit, it is. And
Jenna was like, do you know who that is? I was like, Newman.
Yeah. Hello, Newman.
Hello.
There's been a lot of Seinfeld references for our 80s movies, which is hilarious. And apparently
this movie has a shitload of people in it that go on to other things, which I was also like very surprised by. It's like the baby's mom is in Gilmore Girls. Obviously Newman we talked about. And there was one or two more that were in other things. No, I can't remember.
We'll see him again. We'll see him again. I'm sure. 80s movies. yeah, there was a funny thing that happened while I was watching this movie, and I still feel really bad about it. I was it's really funny and really bad. I was taking notes on my cell phone, which is what I do when I watch the movie, so I can remember what kind of happens and stuff. And I was watching with my girlfriend, and she was kind of like resting right here, and we were laying down, and I was holding my phone up, like about 2 feet from her and me, and I accidentally dropped the phone, and it hit her right in the head. It was literally like a 2-foot drop of the cell phone's about this is about like half a pound. I mean, from 2 feet in the air and it hitting you in the head, it clunked her pretty hard. I felt so bad, but I was laughing so hard.
Oh my god.
It was bad. So that's definitely a core memory I'll have with this movie. Oh, and I was dying. I was laughing so hard. But I was also like, I'm so sorry. But she was crying and I was crying of laughter. But she was crying of pain, unfortunately. Yeah, I felt really bad. So I'm sure she's going to be listening to this, so I'm sorry again. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. This movie was okay. Glad we watched it because it's apparently iconic. It's obviously iconic, but I'm glad we both agree that we don't think it's amazing. And I'm definitely looking forward to the next movies. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's not much else to say.
Exactly. Agreed.
The movie's pretty it is what it is. I can understand why some people would like it.
Yeah. I mean, if you grew up on it too, that's a different story.
Yeah. But yeah, I just don't see it, don't feel it, whatever.
Agreed. So, well, hopefully we'll enjoy the next one because we both haven't seen it, and I'm looking forward to it. And we'll catch you guys next week.
Yep.
Thanks for listening.